Group today. We should let's promote everybody. Sarah or whoever is our Zoom fairy, can we promote everybody to panelists today since it's such a small group and we can just kind of have an interactive sesh?
Love that.
Let me see if I can do it. I cannot do it. Or you can make me host and I can do it.
I'm gonna put my handy dandy glasses on.
I know, mine are too. I'm going to promote
You look
everybody.
great.
I do. Well, thank you. It's not working. Why isn't it working? Okay, I'm trying to promote everybody to panelist so that you guys are all part of it. Let's see here. Josie, let's see, Karen Downing. Keith. Liz, I'm just trying to get everyone here. This is kind of fun. All your note takers are declining panelist. Have you guys, okay, I went to a meeting once and there were more note takers than people. Okay, here we go. Zoom fairy, whoever my Zoom fairy is today, can we promote everyone else to panelists as I get started? And if you might need to make yourself host again. All right. Hey, everybody. I am so excited today. This is our weekly upgrade webinar. We call it the Vault, but I think we're going to change the name. I don't know what we're going to change it to. And before we get started with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, I would love to hear any wins. Does anyone have any wins they want to share this week? Nobody has any wins.
Hey, Via, I'll go. It's Janet. I'm on the road. Hey, you look hot today.
Thank you. It is hot outside. It's like 90.
Fire.
You know what my daughter says? She says I'm hot both ways.
I love that. That's so good. I'm stealing it. So I am headed to present an offer, $1.6 million, $1.7 million offer. Got a call with sphere of influence people. I've got to sell two high-end houses for them so they can move in together as family into a multiple living situation or multiple generational living situation. So last week I didn't have them as clients. I mean, they're my people, but they weren't clients. And this week we're about to close, get signed around on almost $4 million worth of property. It feels like a huge win.
That's a huge win. That's a great win. We all feel that win for you. Anyone else want to share any wins? Well, I love it.
I will. Oh, I will, Via. Hi. This year has been so amazing business-wise, but it has not been without just struggles, and everything is taking 2x, 3x, 4x more effort and power and energy. And I finally closed a listing I had with dear friends of mine, 4 dear friends of mine, buyer number 3. But hallelujah.
That feels so good.
Great to have in the books.
Oh, girl, I feel that. We all feel that. We all know what those are like. Yeah, those just epic deals that feel like they're never going to close and then they actually close. So cool. Veronica, welcome. Oh, yes, more? We have more wins.
Well, no, it's Janet again. I forgot to add that the house I'm going to present the $1.7 million offer in person. It was a for sale by owner. They drove by the property and they gave me the address, and I started vetting the address, and I realized I've known the people for 40 years. I know the sellers that are for sale by owner. So another little extra fun bonus.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Anyone else want to share? Because this is great. I'm loving all of this before we get in. Okay. Well, if you think of anything, you can put it in chat. Because I want to get to my girlfriend, Veronica. So I don't know if you guys all know Veronica Figueroa. She is an unbelievable human, and she's just built this really cool business. And I think what I'm most excited about, and side note, I'm going to have her tell you about the numbers of her business because she will know them better than me. It's big. It's a big business in Orlando. here's what I know about Veronica, and I have seen how the sausage is made on her team. I have been behind the curtain. I have worked with her for years. I met her when her team was like this little, and then I've been with her. Now it's like this big. You can't even see my hands. And so one of the things that I really appreciate about Veronica, and I respect her more than almost anybody, is in her people work. She's one of the best leaders of people that I know. And, I think some people are like really good at processes and systems, and everyone's kind of got their thing. And I would say Veronica, it's about leading with heart, and it's about her people love her, they stay with her, they follow her, and that is valuable. I mean, that is kind of it, that is the definition of an agent attraction business, and it's what I think what we're all striving for. So I'm going to try to get to the heart of it because I think some of it's natural, V. If I'm being honest with you, I think some of it's natural. But I'm going to try to ask you questions today that we can all emulate. So I'm going to try to ask you questions. And so I'm going to ask you to put your thinking hat on. You probably don't. You do a lot of it by gut. But I'm going to ask you to step back a little bit into some conscious competence and think about what you say, how you say it when I ask you your questions so that we can take from that. Is that fair?
Absolutely. No
Okay.
pressure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having
Why don't
me.
you share about your team, V, like what it looks like right now, about how many people you have, how many houses you're selling, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so my team is a team of 60 to 65 agents and staff on on any given day. We are on pace to sell close to, I would say 525 this year. That's our number that's our big goal. We're on pace right now. We've hit the halfway mark. Um, I have I have an operations team of 6 staff members, which is a huge, I would say, via from when just a couple years ago, I had 21. Now I have 6 staff members helping me run the same size team. At the time, we were selling a little over 2,000 homes a year. So just we had bigger staff to handle more volume, but as things have shifted, obviously we have scaled back on our staff. But I have an amazing leadership team. Some have been with me for 13 years, 7 years, 8 years. No one on my leadership team has been with me for less than 4 years. So I have a really great leadership team. And I also have a really nice size organization at EXP, little over 1,800. At the peak, it was a little over 2,200, but of course, as the market shifted, but instead of actually going down, it's actually going back up. So we've seen a real nice, I would say, a nice boost over the last 6 months to 7 months. So I run an organization as well. I have a community as well at EXP, and I'm honored to be a sister to this team, to this community. So yeah, that's a little bit of my world.
I love it. So let's start with your leadership team. How would they describe you as a leader?
Oh, they would say Veronica is probably one of the most um heart-centered visionaries that believes anything's possible. And she has really good intuition on opportunity. She sees things that sometimes people don't see, and she'll go after it even if it doesn't make any sense. And we'll run through a brick building, a brick wall for her. She's gonna figure it out. It's usually what they say about me. But they will also say that I drive them crazy, and I push them to think outside of the box, and I push them to believe that that it's possible. And it gets uncomfortable. It gets uncomfortable many, many times. But because they know my heart, they know my intentions are pure, and I listen and I take in their feedback and I really try to take their feelings into consideration. But I'm very clear on the mission.
It's funny. I was just about to break in and ask you a question, and you literally answered the question I was going to ask you in your last little bit, because I was going to ask you, how would they describe heart-centered leadership? And then you just said that. They know your heart, they know your intentions. You take the time to listen to them. They feel heard, they feel seen. What else do you think you do to make them feel that way? I mean, having an entire leadership team of 6 people who've all been with you 4+ years is not nothing. Like that's really great. And there's usually more churn in those kind of positions. So that's super impressive. So what else do you think you do to make them feel seen and heard and special and like, stick around because they feel bonded with you?
I mean, I think I lean in, I lean in and I ask them, so how are you feeling? Like what's next? How can I support you? And, I've even asked them, why do you stay? Why do you stick around? And what can I do to get better? What can I do to be
What do they
better? And
say when you ask them that?
um, a lot of them have, I think because we just know each other, they're like, Vero, they call me Vero. So you guys know me as Veronica. My team knows me as Vero. They're like, Vero, we just, we trust you. You continue to build a world that's big enough for us to be in it. You continue to include us in the growth. You're not selfish with the spotlight. You want to give us a platform. Some of us don't want a platform. We just want to see your world continue to grow. And we just know that you just understand what we want. And some of them just, you know what, want to go on a trip once a year with me and spend time with me. Others want more money. Others want just to be a part of something bigger. They all have their own goals. And I think I've done a really good job of getting to know them enough to know what's important to them. And, we've been through things like divorces together. We've been through things like, addiction, family matters that like bond you in a way that, it's more than just a team. It's more than just a brokerage. And I don't like to use the word family because so many people say that, but it's a bond it's sticky. And I'm very vulnerable and honest with them, and they're very vulnerable and honest with me. But it's a safe enough place to call each other out when we're not showing up as the best version of ourselves. But I think we've also been on this journey of personal development and growth together. So we've grown up together. And that's, I think, why it's special, where we can have these conversations. I was just in a leadership meeting for 8 hours yesterday with Isis, my VP of Ops. I was gone for 6 weeks, 6 weeks in Europe. And not one of my leadership team had resentment towards me. They were like, stay longer. The business is growing while you're away. They're like,
It's better when you're gone.
they're like, stay in your genius, creating opportunities. But I say, hey guys, like, I just want to make sure you guys are good. They're like, girl, we're good. You've given us the keys. We know the mission. We are clear on it. And then when they need me, they're like, all right, I need you to lock yourself in, turn your phone off, no distractions, focus. And we need to execute on some things that we need your support on, and we need your coaching. I think what's so awesome about them, if they've watched my leadership evolve. They've watched me get coached, become coachable, and they also have been coached up. And I have enjoyed watching them as well, but I also allow them to coach me. So they know when to bring me back in. They're like, hey girl, focus, focus. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I think I'm going to move on to a more of a strategy topic, but I will say it's really important that you hire people who do not resent you for living your lifestyle, and that they understand that that lifestyle is what's giving them a job.
Yeah.
And that the more you, and I'm talking to everyone here for our team leaders here, the more that you are out and about and living your life, the more they realize that's giving them opportunity. Because what you don't want to do is hire the person that's resentful of that, because that can spread poison through the organization. And you have to hire the right people for that, right? Who just understand that. So with Ben Kinney, I used to be like, it would be like it was almost like a pat in the head when he went away, because it meant he trusted me enough to run things. So the more he went away and hunted and did all those things, the better for me, because it made me feel good. And I think that's what you're describing with your people, right? You want to hire people like that.
Yeah, and a lot of times they say that I'm also showing them what's possible, and they really appreciate that I'm also giving them permission to grow as well. So, and yeah, I mean, I have had some of the wrong people at times, and I have felt the negative effects of that, and they're no longer with me.
Yeah, well, I totally get that. You do lead with heart, and you're a kind of a gut instinct person. And I'm really curious about this next question. I've been excited to ask you this. How do you balance kind of gut instinctual decisions with data and your head and your heart? How do you balance those when you're making, because you've made some pretty strategic business decisions over the last couple of years, right? How do you balance those two?
Oh, I wish there was a straightforward answer on that. I do a lot of prayer. I ask a lot of questions. I ask, I seek wise counsel. I do seek wise counsel. I am not afraid to pick up the phone and call the Vias or the Ben Kinneys of the world or the John Cheplaks of the world. Like, look, I'm really struggling. I need to make, I have to make a hard decision, or this is really important that I discuss it with someone that I trust. I've weighed, my new decision tree making, right? Is it aligned with my integrity? Is it aligned with the bigger mission? Would I do it even if it failed? And I'm okay with it not working out perfectly, but at least I felt, I was able to say I experienced the journey and the process, and then I won't feel like a failure. I'll just say, hey, it's part of the process,
Mhm.
um so I'm willing to take risk, and but lately I've been saying no more than what I used to say, because I used to be the girl that used to chase FOMO and thought every opportunity was an opportunity. And
Mhm.
now I recognize that the new idea is probably is what's killing the main idea,
Yeah.
and I need to focus more. Of course, I'm a little wiser now, so I don't make the same silly decisions. But I think there was a lot of, just like you said, I have a skill set of intuition. Sometimes I'm willing to, get my teeth kicked in. But now I analyze a lot more information. I
Hmm.
mitigate the risk. Is it worth it? Is it going to drain my people? That's one of the things I make. I think I make that the decisions that I make now a lot more calculated, because I want to make sure, just because my battery life can just because I have the endurance and the capability to handle the risk, the rejection, the stress, that my nervous system can take a lot more than most people can. I am recognizing that I can't do this to my people if it's not good for them. So it's got to be good for everybody that I'm bringing along on the journey. Now, if it's just negativity or another thing, where they're just negative, I can coach them through that. But I'm really now making decisions based on the people that are going to be along for the ride. And I mean, even my family at this point, my family, and also, my team.
What I'm hearing you have a filter. So I'm hearing that your framework for decision making is you have filters. So you just kind of create filters like, I'm gonna look at these three or four things and filter the decision through that. What's the strain on my people? Is this going to take away from the main thing? I'm sure there's some data involved in that. Now that's kind of how you do it. And in that process, you are talking to other people and seeking counsel.
Yeah, and recently, just, I was talking to ECs yesterday, right? There was something that we launched a few years ago, and you and I have talked about something this before via we were so ahead of our times. It was just not the right time,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that the idea is dead forever, or
Hmm.
that it's not going to happen. It just might not happen right now.
Hmm.
So what if we table it and we'll revisit it? And so we have this new rule of thumb,
Hmm.
right now, it's like nothing new for the next 90 days. We'll table
Hmm.
it for Q4 and we'll revisit it, right? It doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just might not be right now.
Yeah.
And it's also okay to kill an idea. It's okay to say we tried it, didn't work. How's everyone doing? But yesterday we're bringing something to life that we launched 4 years ago that was kind of like sunsetted, but like now's the time, because we have the right who. And
Mhm.
so it wasn't a wasted investment. It's
Yeah.
something that we had to grow up. We had to learn a lot about ourselves, and now we can do it. And now it's
Yeah.
going to feel good.
So one of the things that's interesting about your team is, because of this topic, you have a really tactically, operationally complex team in that you're a Zillow Flex team. And you have a lot of KPIs and metrics and technical stuff you have to hit, right? And you're more than that. I think you get other Zillow programs. So my point, and you have a lot of institutional investors. So, this Leading by Heart Veronica has a lot of like specific metrics she's got to hit with her people. So how do you balance that when you're meeting with agents or meeting with your sales leaders and or leading the group? How do you balance that heart with the highly tactical things that you have to put pressure on them for sometimes, keep them accountable to sometimes, drive them towards, right? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I'm very proud to know that people consider me a heart-centered leader, but this is not fluff. This is all about results. If we don't meet, if we do not meet the metrics and give the results that are expected, none of this matters. Like, we have to deliver. And that's one thing that we're known as, is the most trusted team in Central Florida to get it done. And it's done because I'm a really intentional leader when it comes to who is going to take it into the end zone, who is going to run this division. Karen runs my institutional account. Karen, that is your one thing. That is what you are focused on. She makes sure that Revenos is taken care of, that we meet every single deadline, that our SLAs are on time. And what I talk, when I meet with Karen is, how are we doing on Revenos? How much revenue did we make? How, how are our agents doing? How are our asset managers doing? And that is the one thing I talk to, that I'm holding Karen accountable. Harold, right? He's a huge culture piece, but he is also in charge of Flex. Harold, how's ag? I'll hop on the calls with my growth advisor, and all I care about is big picture. Like, are we meeting the numbers? If not, what's the problem? What do we need to do? Where do we need to fix the problem? And, of course, we leverage Sisu. Now we're doing Batter. We're super excited about the information that we're able to leverage with Batter and all of our other, tools that we use, because I'm such a big thinker and I'm scattered and I'm all over the place. I need to see the information right in front of my face. The only thing I need to know is, did we meet the deadline? Are we on target? What's getting in the way, and how do we fix it? And if it's a people issue, then we recruit to the solution. Who do we need to help us? Where are the
Oh,
gaps?
good.
And
Recruit
when
the
I think of
solution.
people
That's good.
thinking like battle is all heart and interest, yeah, that's one piece of that's the gift God gave me. But what most people don't know, I'm probably one of the scrappiest and most like intentional people when it comes to performing a team. Who needs to be like in charge of operations? Who's in charge of operations? That's what they own. And how can I support them? Who is the culture piece? Who's the cheerleader that's going to galvanize the team and who's going to sell the vision? If it's not me, who's going to be able to carry that forward, carry that vision and mission forward when I'm not around? Because a lot of times I'm not around. So it's really interesting when you ask that. But when I talk to my team, as much as I love them, they are like, Beto's coming. We better have answers. And it's not from a place of like um fear or authority in a negative way. It's more like, all right, guys, I'm walking and talking. Let's go. Give me the the cliff notes. I need to know, what do we need to do? And then I take this information. I literally, will take this information back and say, okay, I've identified the problems. Now it's my job to go find the solution. Or I'll have them bring me solutions. I'm like, okay, guys, why are we not meeting our numbers with Flex? What's going to happen next? And yeah, that's with any decision that I make and how I run my team.
I love that. I love recruiting to the solution. That is I'm taking that, I'm stealing that, literally using it in probably every coaching conversation I have next week. So thank you. That's really good.
Yeah.
Um, so you have scaled so much since I met you. Like, do you know your numbers from, like, I don't know, if you went like 10 years ago, like roughly? I mean, like, it's been massive. Like, I can't remember when, maybe you were doing 200 units when I first met you, 100
Oh,
units, farming that community to,
already 200 and some change, but at one point I was 95% of the I mean, I was doing 95 deals myself a year. And then of course buyer's agents, and then I transitioned into leadership.
well, here's my question. Like, my question is, because I think there's a lot of people that see that and would love it. They would love to have a big team like that. Like, what's the fire behind that? Like, at what point did you just decide you were going to go big? What did you do? What was the first thing you did? Like, just walk us through the fire behind your scaling.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was out of necessity. I was tired. I have 5 kids. There became a moment that I had to make a decision, like, go to my kid's baseball game, miss a dinner, or go to a listing appointment. And, when you're selling 95, when you're listing 95 homes a year by yourself, I mean, not listing, selling 95 homes a year by yourself, you miss out on a lot of moments. And that's when I really said, I really need to find the leverage to get my time back. But I really loved real estate, and I loved, like being able to share. Like I was like, what if I can help agents, like, and because I'm very ambitious, I have big goals. Not everybody wants to sell 90 homes a year. They were just
Yeah.
happy with selling 10 to 15 homes a year. And I was like, I could really help them. I had sign calls. Back then, the most technology I had was land voice, and writers and stuff like that. So we didn't have a lot of technology. But I knew if I can assemble a team, I could get the one thing that I wanted, which was a little bit of time back, and I could give them what they wanted, which was, some experience and some business. And so I was always focused, clear on the mission when I started developing a team. But what happened was, I'll never forget, my husband said to me, why are you still going on so many listing appointments? And I said, well, because I'm the best, on the team. And he says, but you say you want to be a leader. And I was like, yeah, but they can't do it as good as I do. I need to do this. And he says, then it's your job to make them better than you ever were. It's your job and your responsibility to develop them to be better than you. Don't you want to be that kind of leader? And that was the moment I decided that I was going to walk away from my book of business, and I was going to gift it to one of my listing agents, to one of my agents, and I was going to groom up the next listing agent on the team. At the time, I had a team of 10. And by the way, when we had a team of 10, we were probably selling about 400 homes. We were a little scrappy little team
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
at the time. Um, you know, what was interesting is I actually made them interview for the listing agent position. You had to send me a video while you thought you were ready, how you were going to be able to carry out our mission, what the Fig team way was, what they expected out of this role. And then I sat with them, with my Excel spreadsheet of like how many homes I sold, what was in my database, what I anticipated this year was going to look like, and I was able to sell the vision to one of my top agents. Well, like five of them applied. Some of them even said, I'm not ready to take on that responsibility. And then 5 of them applied, and of the 5, I ended up, selecting the one that, he's just a star. And his first year as my lead listing agent, he sold 83 homes, 83 listings. And that was the beginning of it all. And I said,
Unbelievable.
if I could do this, I could do this over and over again. And it's game over. And I just started just duplicating and duplicating that
Okay,
process.
but here's the thing, like this is where I'm going to stop you a little bit because I think you have a natural talent. Sometimes when we're so natural at something, it takes someone like me to pull it out of you because you don't even know what you do. So you just kind of threw out there selling the vision, and we're all sitting here going, "How do you sell a vision? How do you sell a vision to have 4 people apply?" Are we all thinking that? Like, what does that look like? What does that sound like? So sell me the vision on that job right now. Let's role play.
Yeah, I mean, they were at the time I ran the old model. I was the team leader, I was the lead listing agent, and they would only get my buyers.
Hmm.
And, that was the thing, right? That was the way to do it back then, or some people still run their team that way. But I wanted to basically develop leaders and new listing agents, but I had to start with one, and I wanted them to be the one. And okay, the vision that I was selling at the time was you're going to make 30% of my business. Basically, your split is going to be 30%. I was
Yeah,
on a
and they came from a 50% split, right?
Yeah, well, they were going to get 30% on listings because on buyers, they were getting 50%. So, maybe
How
some of
did
you
you
team,
sell that to them, girl? Come on.
it's math. I sat down, we basically broke down what 95 homes a year, right? And based on the amount of listings that we get, the amount of leads that we get, and the amount of opportunities, plus the mentorship, I was going to coach him. I was going to sit with him for 6 months and go on every single listing appointment with him, you know, bring him on and basically coach him on the opportunity, and he would be my junior listing agent, but I would be there with him every single step of the way, and the amount of value that he was going to get with that. And his goal was to make to get his savings up to $50,000 a year By the time he finished with me, his career, he had over $250,000, and he bought
Amazing.
property. So it was about helping help, really
Love
honestly
that.
helping him align with his goals, and and helping him just grow as a leader, and just conversations. And I knew he was the one. I needed him to
Mhm.
believe it. And you guys, if you're running a team and you're building, something special with people, or sometimes your intuition will tell you who that person is, but you got to let them self-discover. So I didn't just give him the listing title. I wanted him to apply for it, but I needed the whole group to also, when he became the lead listing agent via, everyone else was clapping and celebrating because they said, we knew it was always going to be Tim. He's
Oh,
amazing. They were cheering him on. But
I
I
love
couldn't
that.
have just handed it to him. I wanted him to really show that he wanted it.
Yeah, I get that. Well, and it's interesting because I look back, so there's that story now. How do you lead differently now with a team of, 60, 70 agents than you did then with, 5 or 10? How do you decide who to
You
spend
know,
time
I spend time with my leadership team, and then I spend time with the top agents. But with them now, it's different. It's like I sit with them. I say, how's the team treating you? Tell me a little bit about your experience on the team. What do you like? What are some of the areas that, where do you want to grow? What's important to you? I've got a call with an agent tomorrow. She's been with us for a year and a half. And, you get that call. She's like, hey, Veronica. I was like, hey, Patricia, you're doing amazing things. Let's spend some time together tomorrow. I know that you've been kind of asking what's next. So let's talk about that. And my leadership team sometimes will say things like, oh, she wants a higher split because, she's ready to work on her brand. I was like, let's spend some time to her. Let me find out what that means. Like,
Mm.
I want to lean in. And, I usually spend time with the top 20%, but I also,
Yeah,
when I'm in the
nice.
office and I have an event, I want to meet the new agents and I want to thank them. And I ask them, where are you coming from? What are your goals? What are you looking for? What made you join the team? And then when they tell me those stories, I connect with them individual, and I really try to make them feel welcome, that I see them. And then I spend time with the team during our quarterly and our week and our meetings, that they're like, Veronica's coming. And it's really awkward, Via, because when I come in, they're like, oh my God, Veronica's going to be here. But I sit with them, I lean in with them, and I spend that whole day there wanting to just shake hands, get to know them, and just thank them for being in my world and allowing us to be a part of their career and their journey, however long that is. And when you're running a team, anyone on your team more than a year and a half, 2 years is like dog years, right? It's like
Oh, yeah,
they're
totally.
long time, you
100%.
know, and I just let them know, hey, whatever part of the journey you're on, I'm excited that we get to be a part of this chapter.
You know what that reminds me of? Gary Keller taught me once that leaders have to be at the front of the bus, sharing the vision, leading the charge, and then they have to go to the back of the bus. You have to be both. And that's you going to the back of the bus, sitting with your people. It might be awkward, but you're there in the trenches with them, and both are important. It was a very valuable lesson he taught me. And he taught me when
Yeah.
he's interviewing me that on stage. That's how I got that lesson. But okay, this is a question that you and I, because we're personal friends, like, I kind of know the answer to, but I'd like everybody else to hear it. You have been on a very aggressive growth trajectory for as long as I've known you. You're very ambitious, you're driven. That's why I love you, because I am too. But I know that that fire that burns can dim. And I know that what can happen is, I'm always hesitant to use the word burnout. I feel like burnout's a phrase. I don't love that phrase. However,
Yeah.
you can hit, misalignment, disconnection, tiredness, just like where you need a rest or whatever. How do you reset? What do you do when that fire starts to dim?
Oh, well, you know me, and you've seen me in multiple phases of my life and my career. There have been times I run. I
Hmm.
run. And as I'm working through some things, I've recognized that pattern. I'd reach the peak, and then I'm like, this is it. I'd burn out, I'd hide, and I just want to just curl up and like disconnect from the world, because I was like, if this is what success feels like, I don't want it.
Hmm.
And at the peak of my career, when we became number one in the world for our brokerage 2 years in a row, first year it was like, yes, we could do this. Second year around, when we did it, I didn't even know. Um, I probably hit I hit rock bottom. I was like, I don't even like this right now. But it was because I was out of alignment. I really wasn't doing things that brought me joy. I was really, really unhappy via my marriage was not in a good place, my health was not in a good place. And I had not given myself to center myself. And now I recognize what I do. Like, I have a habit of sabotaging certain things. Well, in the past, I had a habit of sabotaging things. Now I'm a lot more aware. I really want to take care of my people. But I want to take care of myself too. So now I give myself permission to recharge. I give myself permission to say, hey, I don't have to do what everyone else is doing. I get to do what brings me joy. I get to do the things that I love to do, where before I used to do what I thought everyone else was that I had to do what everyone else was doing. Now I'm so clear on my mission that I'm like, it has to be in alignment. So now, I work hard, and then I retreat. I go to my vacation home in Puerto Rico. I sit down, will disappear for a week and I'll just work remote alone. I need to recharge. I can't be in the office, but my team knows that I'm working, and I just meet with my leadership team and I just check in on them. But I'm making sure that I'm finally prioritizing myself. I never knew how to, I never had an off button. It was just go, 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 go. I used to think that I had to cram my calendar to the point that if I had nothing on my calendar, I was a failure. And then I realized that that's not fair to myself. So now take time, I recharge, and I honestly, these last few years also, and I'm very grateful for that breakdown. I'm very grateful for that moment where I had to say what's next. And I remember praying, and I remember being by myself in my Puerto Rico house all by myself. And I said, God, there's got to be more. Please show me the light. Something. There's got to be more. And I'll never forget, I heard the voice. He says, I am the answer. And that's when I started to really dive deep into my faith and, just get really, really closer to God and just be, you know, I don't need validation from the real estate industry to show me or tell me that I'm a great human being and that God wants me to be blessed and that I'm supposed to do something that has a true calling. But that's where I was seeking it. And that is why I almost literally got out of the business. But that moment really got me back centered. So my
That is
faith
a
said,
wonderful answer. That's a great answer. Thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable. That's the best answer I've ever heard to that question. Seeking God is always the best thing, I think. So that's great. So by the way, side note, if anyone has questions, you can throw it in chat or you can just raise your hand. You know how to raise your little Zoom hands. You go down to the bottom and you click raise hand, and then it'll raise your little hand. I am curious though, Veronica, what is next for you? I mean, you've got your team, you just launched mortgage, you have title, I believe, you have your organization. What is next? Just making those bigger, or do you have any other projects? I know that we might have one, but we're not going to share about that one yet.
yeah, no, we got some cool things to do. Now I'm really excited about what's next because I'm so clear on my mission and who I want to do it with and the kind of people I want to do it with. And I also know that you can dream big and it doesn't have to feel heavy. And you can be different. And I'm super excited for global. I'm excited to help continue open up countries. I have partners in Dubai. I have a partner in
Cool.
Spain. I've helped open up countries. I get to connect with real estate leaders all over the world and talk about how different yet how similar it is. So I'm super excited about helping, this next vision come to life and just realizing that you can design this world, this life to be so awesome, so beautiful, and truly there are no limitations. So I am dubbing myself like a global real estate leader, a
I love
global
it.
real estate strategist that's going to help people realize how awesome it is to work with the best real estate agents in the world. And I know I'm a connector and I get to just do what I love to do and show up authentically, but really hopefully help people build systems, processes, have a true plan on how to dominate in their market, whatever that looks like for them, because I've done it, and really just honor where they're at. I know who who my avatar is, right? I love working with team leaders, brokers, big, country leaders. But I also love taking an agent who's ready, right? And ready to scale, and show them what's possible. So, but on a global level, I have amazing partners like you guys, right? You guys are taking over and I just love it. And I love seeing leaders rise. So this next chapter of my life, my team is successful and they're crushing it at Place, and together with Place, we're doing great things. So like, I think I can now go on and grow globally while still making sure that, home base is taken care of, check in, and just continue to dream big through real estate, but also recognizing real estate is not everything. It's not who I am, and just go out there and just, live the best life, be in
I love it.
love, and, just enjoy life.
I love it. I love it. If no one has, does anyone have any questions for Veronica? We have a few minutes. If you do, otherwise I think we're gonna wrap it on this high note.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. Well, here's what I love about you, Veronica. I love that you have really merged heart, ambition, process, and scaling. You've really it's like an artwork that you've done, because a lot of people have the processes and scaling and they don't have the heart. A lot of people have the heart and zero processes and scaling. And it's been fun watching you kind of build your team around what your strengths are, which is how I see it, and kind of bolstering that. And the fact that you seek counsel is perfect, because you know where you're strong and you know where counsel's good. And so it's really been fun to watch, and I think it's inspiring for those of you here that have a team or an aspiring team leader. You have to have both. You have to do the people work. Actually, Veronica, one last question before we wrap. One last one. What advice would you have for any team leader here, or any that's going to watch it on the replay?
Oh gosh, what advice do I have for the
Open-ended
people?
question, so you can really,
Yeah, I'm usually good at those, but I really want to make sure that, look, this is fall in love with the process. You're if you're building a team and
oh
you're
my gosh,
building
that's
a business, just be okay with knowing that this is truly not a one road that you're just you got to stick to this one way of doing things. It's going to ebb and flow. Someone, the people that you bring into your world, you have to understand that they're here to teach you something. The mistakes that you make, they're here to remind you that it's okay to get back up, and it's going to be, if you fall in love with the process and realize, wow, that had to happen for me, like that had to happen, that person had to come into my life. I think it's a beautiful thing, to if you're building teams and you're growing, you're growing as a leader, you gotta just embrace those moments. And recently something happened to me, and you started with a high note, high at the beginning, Via, and I was just kind of smiling. Two things. This year, I mean, I got sued this year. Like I was like, "Ugh, that sucks." But then I realized, what am I supposed to learn through this process? Right before I went on my vacation, um, I got some really crazy news and I had a scare and I had to like fly back and almost cancel my trip, and they thought they found a mass and whatever. And I was like, God, what am I supposed to learn with this? Like what? And it taught me just to be present. The other thing taught me to be a little bit more calculated. And,
Mhm.
I'm always looking at the positive of everything instead of the negative. I'm like, this is here to teach me something. Today, my win is we bought a building, and I'm like, I never thought, this, I could have let everything else make me go, make me be sad or
Yeah.
find the positive in everything. But like, there's always a win. There's
Mm.
always a win in every situation. So as a leader, even if you feel like, oh my God, an agent left me, there is something positive out of this because you had to go recruit more people. You had to recruit your new talent. You had to become a better leader. There's always something positive that's going to come throughout this process. So if you just change the lens and just
Mhm.
be optimistic, you're going to be wildly successful.
Well, this is, the upgrade community call. And so William Lamb is, kind of one of our primary teachers. And I've just adopted this. It's either, okay, anytime something quote unquote bad happens or any setback, I'm like, this or something better. It's this or something better. So when I don't get what I want, or I get that it's something I don't want or whatever, and it feels like a catastrophe, I'm like, okay, it's this or something better. What is this? Yeah, to your point, what is this doing? What is the, the obstacle is the way. So I mean, it is all about the lens. I love that. Well, thank you, my friend, for taking the time to spend with me. I know how busy you are, so it means a lot to me. And thank you to all you guys for coming. And we promoted you to panelist. And so, you know, you're showing your smiling faces, and that's really fun. And participated on the chat. So I appreciate all of you. And yeah, have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Bye.